going on, brother?
Hey, how's it going there, Mr. Rhino?
Good seeing you again, man.
Do I say Mr. Rhino, like, authoritatively, sir, that kind of a thing? Or is it just
Whatever you want. We're just hanging. We're just hanging.
Well, you're hanging in Philadelphia, a city you're
Right.
no stranger to, and you've been coming there for a lot of years. Your first few times to Philadelphia, did you get to see more than just the building?
You know what? No. It was just the gym, the hotel, the gym, the building, and it wasn't until years after I really started going around like Independence Hall and seeing where the Declaration of Independence, and the Constitution was signed and all the history. And, I'm a history buff too. So yeah, it's just, I made time and I took time, and so much to see in Philly, so.
With history, which areas are you specifically history buff in? U.S. history?
Yeah, U.S. history. I haven't gotten into Roman. A lot of people are like into ancient history and Roman history and I just American history. I want to say like like World War One. I'm
Really?
somewhat knowledgeable. World War II, because my ex-wife is German, and I traveled throughout Germany and stuff, and and then I probably the last 10, 11 years, I really started studying the Vietnam War. And my neighbor, he was drafted and he went over there, and my neighbor across the street that owns the Marina, he was over there. And yeah, so it's just, so you can just listen to their stories. I don't ask. Sometimes you just let them talk,
and kind of like wrestlers.
Right. Let them share what they want to share, and don't pry into certain things, that could provoke terrible memories, So.
Yeah, I say that like wrestlers because usually wrestlers tend to be open books except for 2 or 3 topics, which I won't name. And those 2 or 3 topics come up and they want to throw you through a window. But otherwise, it's like, yes, I love to talk about my craft. Same with people who've been in war or dangerous PTSD kind of situations.
Right. And I'm not afraid of any questions that people have, has my life been perfect? No. But whose has, so. And, with age comes knowledge, and I've been blessed to have a worldly experience too in life, whether going over there for wrestling or, when we went over to Iraq to meet the troops and actually wrestle for the troops, in 2003. So sometimes this business takes you into places where you're happy to be, but it's a little dangerous, so. But you have wrestling fans throughout the whole world. And sometimes you go into countries that you have to be careful, if you stay close to the bus and, it's close to the show and you get in and get out and, stuff. But like, for example, I actually booked myself over in Pakistan, and that was a great experience because it was for a group that had a vacation resort. There was over 6,000 people there, and you never felt, as safe. They had transportation for you, to and from the airport. And, it was a really good experience, and I was very fortunate, Now, did I leave, the resort and go walking around? No. So, but yeah. So anyways.
But I am talking to a former world champion. Not many people get to be a world champion. And I'm also talking to somebody who's had are you like 25 years in now?
27 years today.
27 today. Congratulations.
Today. Thank you.
Now, how long did you think that you were going to be in the business for when you got in there? Are you one of those guys that went age 30, I'm going to have saved my money and I'm getting out? Are you one of those guys?
You know what? Wrestling, this business is life, I want to get 5 more years. But along those 5 years, I want to slowly, start doing less shows in the ring and more shows behind. So for years, I didn't do seminars on the independent scene. I want to do more of those, try to pass on the knowledge, try to find talent. I was able to help people out. I remember Britt Baker coming to one of my seminars, and and she actually, and there's a lot of times that one thing I told her, I go, don't date any wrestlers. I go, but it was funny because it was kind of like, and I'm happy for her because she found, and there's a lot of great guys and girls in the wrestling business.
Sure.
But I was always, the one thing I was taught, but there weren't a lot of women in wrestling. I was always taught, like, if someone's wife comes up, say hi, nice to meet you, and that's it. Because you never want to tell a joke that's taken the wrong way. Next thing you know, you got heat for something that's wrong,
Right.
And then my fear when I try to mentor people, and I understand the attraction because you share the same passion, the wrestling business. And then you can travel on the road, especially if you're in the same company together. So, and that's all good attractions. But what I'm afraid of is when sometimes people break up, the emotions are still raw, and it's hard to see people move on, even if it's months down the road. Some, it's harder than others, so that's what I worry about. And then they're in a position where it's like they quit their passion to move on because it's hard for them or whatever it might be.
Mm-hmm.
So that's the only fear, not that you can't find a good person in wrestling, because there's a lot of great people out there. So, but no, I remember when she told me, and I'm like, oh, he's a good dude, and things are working great. But she was on Jericho's podcast and kind of gave me some mentoring rights, and I always tell people, I can only give you the tools. You have to put them to work, so.
Yeah. Well, you mentioned the Marina before. Your Marina still happening? Still
sold out again this year. We're sold out again. Last year, see, I'm not one to boast or, but last year was the first year we sold out. And I don't know if it's the first year they've ever been completely sold out. They were sold out in the 90s and stuff. And it was a family-owned business, and they had welding shops and all that. So when the brother passed away, the mother just kept it and rented only enough slips to pay the taxes and stuff. So I went from 80 boats to 84. So we're complete capacity the second year. And another thing, it just doesn't happen. I'm answering the phones. I'm having people come down. I'm building a waiting list for next year, already. So, and I don't just say, call me back next year. I go, come on down when we're, it's funny because some people will come down and then I'll show them a dock that's open, or someplace next year, if we put them on the list, where I can put them. And I tell them, I go, I'm always here. If I'm not, I'm on the road wrestling. They're like, oh, you wrestle? I go, yeah. They go, what's your name? I go, Rhino. I go, and they're like, I knew you looked familiar. I used to watch Attitude Era and all that stuff. And yeah, so, but it's cool. And they're like, oh, you're still wrestling? I go, yeah, I've had a hell of a career since you tuned out. So, yeah, some people grow out of wrestling. Some people grow with wrestling. Some people might grow out of it, and then when they have kids, they come back to it. It's a generational thing. And some fans are just, with us throughout the whole thick and thin, and so. But anyways, yeah. So thank you for bringing up the Marina. But I'm actually proud. It's been took a lot of money to rehab it, and a lot of work, and it's constant work. So.
Well, the Marina is in Michigan, and I think you were from Michigan as a wrestler before it was cool to be. Now it's like 20% of the wrestlers are from there. It was just like you, RVD, and Nash.
Right.
Rohit, who used to be with Impact, etc. Yeah. 20% of them are from there. So I guess, you pioneered Michigan wrestling along with the Sheik.
Right. And you're always happy when you see someone, from your area, whether it's baseball, football, movies, or starting a business, and that business flourishes. Like I always brag about, like, Little Caesars, their original store is still
Detroit.
there. And, and then Tom Monahan, how he Domino's, and now if you watch the History Channel, you see the foods that created America, or I forget the show, the foods that built America. And
there's that, and there's Adam Eats the 80s, which I just interviewed him for. So
nice.
Nice.
But yeah, that's you see all that stuff, and it's cool when you see stuff, and and like from Alex Shelley and Chris Sabin, Jake something and Rohit and, guys like that, and especially Nash. My buddy and I were talking about, I don't know if you petitioned for it or what the steps are, but it's West Road, and he's from Trenton, and we want to try to rename it Nash Road. We haven't brought that up to Nash, so I don't know if we should surprise them or, but yeah, it's a pretty big road. I mean, so the fingers crossed we could get a name or a road named after Kevin Nash.
But before I ask you my last question, did you see the Detroiters episode that Nash was in?
No.
It's a great show with Sam Richardson and Tib Robinson, both big comedy writers who are in a lot of stuff. And they had a show for 2 seasons on Comedy Central called Detroiters. It's a really funny show. And Nash returns as Tim's father out of the mental institution. So, look for that one.
Yeah. What stream is it on? Is it on a stream?
Comedy Central stuff. So I guess Plus, and maybe it's on Hulu. And my last question for a book I'm writing, and it's cool if the answer is no. I know you're a Motown guy, but were you ever a Van Halen fan?
Yeah, I hear people go Van Halen, Van Hagar. I definitely growing up, because I was born in 75. I'm 46 now, going to be 47. Definitely Van Halen was a big thing. I like Sammy Hagar. If I had to pick, David Lee Roth is great and everything, and all of his music. Like, I love that part of Van Halen, but I also like, Sammy Hagar, and the music they come up with then, and it's like, it's hard to pick, but if I'm like held down and, like on a, they're going to say, okay, pick one, or we're waterboarding you. Okay, then I'll have to pick one. I'd pick Sammy Hagar. Yeah. So
it happens. You like both, though. That's the key.
Right.
Congratulations on 27 years in. The Marina successful. Impact is doing great with you, and looking forward to everything that's to come, man. Thank you.
Thank you. And in the last several years, I've been trying to really help other guys out. And I know it's not about me. It's about, the people paved the road for me in wrestling. Now I'm trying to pave that road for others, and I have been. And now it's really, I've got to lay down a lot of road over the next 5 years. So, yeah. So,
well, enjoy Philly. I don't know if you're Gino's, Pat's, or the third one guy.
Tony's.
Enjoy the
Tony Luke's. Thanks, brother.
Thanks.
We're all great.
Day.
Take care.
Paltrocast.